We'll just wait for a few minutes and then we'll start with the live. We are waiting for some more people to join us. So, hello and welcome all. Thank you for joining us in this live session. We, the youth members of WMARS, have come up with a very interesting live webinar focusing on different domains of human interaction with the environment. This series is a collective effort and is called Let's Think Green. Today, in the honor of World Conservation Day, we'll start the first day of webinar series. I'm Sanchita, a WMARS Youth Club member and a moderator for this webinar. We have Ms. Sanya Bedi with us today, who is an experienced counseling psychologist and holds a number of skills that deal with many health-related concerns. Apart from this, she is a PhD scholar, a consultant psychologist with various colleges of University of Delhi, an expert panelist on Momspresso and Shiros, and also a content creator. We are delighted to have you with us, ma'am. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Before we start with the webinar, I'd like all the people watching us to know that they are free to ask any questions that come up in their mind during this live. Ma'am, is it okay if we start by acknowledging a situation that we all are going through during this pandemic?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, most of the people are very demotivated to do anything productive throughout the day. Can you give us some tips to enhance individual productivity as well as can you shed some light on it?
So I feel that productivity is kind of defined very differently for different people. And while maybe some of us feel that we are not being productive, if you like really deep dive and if you really look through your day, you'll realize that maybe you are more busy than before because the whole idea of rest and work is now so blurred. It's like you are probably on a Zoom call attending your classes, and in the break you want to go and help your mom or dad, so that break is not there, there's no rest. So all I'm trying to say is that maybe we are not looking properly, maybe we are being a little unfair with ourselves and a little harsh on ourselves. Maybe we are actually doing a lot more and not recognizing that bit. Actually, I mean, I would say I am facing this. It does happen with me that I am between calls and I feel like, okay, let me just wash the utensils or do something and all of that.
And we sometimes also multitask, like we cannot focus on one thing. We
Yeah.
always like we should do some other things instead of just this thing.
Yeah, I think as a society we are generally We are generally told to multitask. Monotasking is not really appreciated per se. So like when you were young you were told अच्छा अभी आप स्कूल में अच्छा कर रहे हो पढ़ाई में अच्छा कर रहे हो तो एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर में क्या कर रहे हो एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर कर रहे हो तो ट्यूशन जा रहे हो कि नहीं जा रहे ट्यूशन जा रहे हो तो ट्यूशन का होमवर्क और ट्यूशन के सारे टेस्ट्स A1 होने चाहिए so you see how monotasking is not really respected or acceptable and I think that is why we are so critical of ourselves now.
So is multitasking more effective or is monotasking more effective?
I would say we are our own, we need to judge ourselves there, whatever works for us. But I would just say that none of it is wrong, even if you're multitasking or even if you're monotasking, even if your entire focus is on one thing, it's not bad. Maybe other people are going to tell you that, do something with it. But I think it's a very personal experience. And I feel the whole concept of mindfulness actually takes you to monotasking more than multitasking, right? So, yeah.
So a lot of people do not feel productive and they feel bad about not being productive. So how should one deal with the emotions of not being productive?
Um, I would say it's very important for us to kind of recognize what productivity means for us. Like, so for example, a lot of people would be working 24/7 and still feel like, oh, the 11th thing did not get ticked off in my list of tasks. So it depends on what exactly productivity is for you. But I would say that if you're wanting to make it very structured, you really want to see your work, then it's a good idea to schedule certain tasks. So scheduling does not only allow you to scheduling does not only tell you what you should do, but it also tells you that what you've done so much, so it also honors your small wins. So I would just say that for the ones who are feeling bad about not being productive, just probably take a pen and paper after this live and start noting down whatever you've done through the day, and you will realize that ऐसा नहीं है कि कुछ भी नहीं किया है, maybe जितना करना चाहिए था उस हिसाब का नहीं किया, बट ऐसा नहीं है कि कुछ भी नहीं किया. So I think that lens has to change a bit, and so will the emotions thereafter.
So, ma'am, a lot of people are facing serious anxiety and depression these days due to the ongoing situation because they are just stuck at home. They cannot go out and everything. So, how should we deal with that?
See, if I closely look at what technically anxiety is or anxious thoughts and feelings are, basically, if you closely notice anxious thoughts and feelings or overthinking, actually take us to the future or take us to the past. So we are not technically in the present, we are not in the here and now. So one of the most effective techniques to just be present in the here and now is practicing mindfulness. So, mindfulness essentially means how you can bring back your attention and concentration and consciousness to the present without judging the present moment. So, if I ask you, Sanjita, what did you have 2 days back in the lunch? Do you remember?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember what you had yesterday in the lunch?
I guess dal, basic staple, rice and all. But I'm not even sure about that.
Absolutely. So we also don't do mindful eating, right? Because maybe while we are eating, we are thinking of, oh my God, I had to do this assignment or I had to call this person. So this is what mindfulness is, that it allows you to come back to the present and just be mindful of the things that are around you. And let me tell you, it's very difficult to practice mindfulness. But it's shown, like research has indicated, that mindfulness can reduce your stress levels, can reduce your anxiety to a great degree.
So, ma'am, how can one achieve mindfulness? Matlab, what should we do for it?
I think there are many strategies to follow, but there are a few that you can follow, like something like mindful eating. So every time you're eating, just try and just eat. Just try and savor every bit of the food that you're eating. Maybe you have your evening chai, so just try and have chai and not think of other things. So using your phone with everything or just being engaged with everything can stop you from being mindful. So mindful eating is number one. Then you could also have your own personal rituals. Like a lot of people have their personal rituals of, some people say stop, just they just say stop to themselves every time they feel that they are going in the future. So that also allows, breathing allows you to be in the present, so you just focus on your breath and nothing else. So yeah, these are some of the tips that you can apply for mindfulness.
So, ma'am, the country, moreover, the world is in a crisis right now, and people produce many negative emotions due to it, which happens with an individual's productivity. It relates to how an individual sees himself. So,
Yeah.
how should we do about it? What should we do about it? How should we deal with negative emotions that occurs to us?
See, what happens usually is that the emotions that we don't want, we tend to kind of struggle with them. So for example, the last time you felt anxious, you would probably be angry about your anxiety, or you would just be sad about your anxiety, or you'd be like overwhelmed completely. So what usually happens is that whenever we are facing primary emotions, we tend to struggle with it, and that leads to secondary emotions, and then the whole idea of feeling absolutely overwhelmed about the whole thing. So the I would say that whenever you are facing negative emotions, understand that it's absolutely normal. That's number one. Number two, try not struggle with it. Try not struggle with the emotion itself, because what happens is that the primary emotion gets blurred in the background. So initially, why were you feeling anxious? What were your triggers? What made you feel a certain way? How can you deal with it? How can you look out for solutions? All goes for a sip, because now you are angry with your anxiety. Now you have probably shouted at your partner or your friends or your family, and now you're guilty about it. So what happens is that we tend to struggle a lot with our negative emotions. So that's number one. Number two, if you feel that, see, a lot of interaction now is happening digitally. So it's very important to remember that people put out their best fronts in front of the camera, or I have not come across anybody who puts out like unfiltered pictures, like, or even if they do, they would put like a hashtag unfiltered content, but the whole idea is, yeah.
The validation they need that नहीं मैंने unfiltered picture डाला, people should know about it.
Yeah. Plus also like the no makeup look. Now the no makeup look also has a lot of makeup, right? So what we need to kind of remind ourselves is that that maybe we have the power, we have the choice of creating a boundary wherein we only allow those emotions to come in where we want them to come in. So like a lot of practicing a lot of boundary creation, I feel, is very important, especially during times like this when people are just facing so much. And I just feel that it's very important to honor their struggles, but at the same time also understand how much you can give back, how much of it you can take overall. So it's very important to know yourself in all of this.
When you said this point, I just remembered this one thing that there was this one time during this lockdown when we had no classes and we were doing nothing. We were just sitting at home and watching series all day. So the founder of our organization, she called us and said, "यार कि बस अब तुम लोग ऐसे मत बैठो, कुछ तो कर लो, बुरा नहीं लग रहा तुम लोगों को?" फिर हमें लगा कि हाँ चलो अब मतलब कुछ करते हैं. So we indulged ourselves in a lot many activities, like we held best out of waste competitions and plantation drives all around the country, like in MP, in Delhi, in UP. And then we made some masks as well. We gave free masks to guards and all because we thought that they cannot afford it, and they're actually the ones who are suffering. So when we did it, we just felt that kind of peace that we
Yeah.
did something.
Yeah,
So
so that you said a very important point, that action a lot of times eases the anxiety. So what usually happens is, if you just usually look around, you would be like, okay, कुछ भी चीज करने से पहले inspire होते हैं. Let's seek some inspiration. Then you will be like, okay, now let's seek some motivation. And then people will be like, ab action karte hain. And by the time we reach action, we're already tired, you see. So the whole idea of achieving great productivity is, first do an action, then get inspired by the action, and then get motivated by that inspiration. So the cycle needs to be reversed, and you will realize that even if, like, you put in, like you just said, you did one competition and you just felt so motivated and inspired to do more, right? So I just feel that for productivity, we seek a lot of inspiration from outside. We need to just start looking within ourselves for it.
When I asked my team that what all things do I need to include in it, there was one point that came out very prominently. It said that there are a lot of psychological effects on kids, adults as well, but especially on kids because they cannot go out, they cannot mingle because that's their age. They have to do
Yeah.
it, they want to do it. So, ma'am, what are the psychological effects of this pandemic, of being in a lockdown on kids, and how should we cope with the stress of it? Like, how can parents help with it?
See, I would not. So I have a lens that I don't go into diagnosis and assessment. That's something that I prefer to not choose, and especially here because like it's an open forum here. So I would just say that generally speaking, yes, it is tough for adults, and it's actually also tough for kids because the whole idea is that whenever say a kid says that okay, I cannot go to the park. Just an example, he says I cannot go to the park, and that is stressful for the child, but where we as parents make mistakes is we're like इसको पार्क में मतलब टेंशन हो रही है यहाँ पे इतना सब कुछ हो रहा है हमारे साथ. So you tend to directly or indirectly tend to trivialize the concerns of the child. I think that is something where we can as adults try and take that into consideration. Like I have a nephew, he is 1 year and 11 months old. For him it's like a big huge challenge to not go to the park, and
Yeah.
that has started showing in his behavior. So he may feel very restless, or he may not want to engage in some activities that my sister would tell him to do because he just wants his spa. But what would happen is that as adults we would be struggling with our thought processes, that we would not pay a lot of attention to the kids. But when parents tell me that okay, so there's another set of parents who tell me that my kids are having a life, like they are having an amazing life now, so they are chilling. So that is also not really nice, because when these kids go back into studying and all of that, then getting back to routine becomes really difficult. So I would just say that if there are any parents out here, just try and maintain some sort of a schedule for your children, which takes into consideration the stress that we as adults and kids are also going through, but also takes into consideration that when things get back to normal, it may become very difficult to get them back into a routine. So it's very important to have some sort of a schedule for them.
So, ma'am, people believe that the environment we live in, it holds a major card for our well-being, for our mental state. Is it true?
Yeah, definitely. Because, see, there are various factors because of which we feel a certain way. So because you are probably in a very uplifting environment, or very positive environment, there's a very high chance that you're going to feel better. I wouldn't say that environment is the only reason, and man does not have a choice. Man does have a choice. I mean, we all human beings have a choice to be happy or sad. But then yeah, it does affect your mindset, your sense of peace. So it's very essential to overall feel good about yourself and be in a nice, fulfilling environment.
Ma'am, because the people who live in urban cities and all, if they want to, maintain peace, they often go to hill stations and places near water. So, ma'am, does that hold some accountability that being with nature makes us more calm?
I would say honestly, it depends on the people. I mean, I always have this stance that who am I to judge what works for people, right? So a lot of people may be like, no, I like to de-stress by going to the mall, and a lot of people may say that no, going near nature helps me. But yeah, I have generally seen that people do take breaks from this hustle, and they like to pause in nature. Yeah, I've seen that coming through. But is it like if somebody is not doing that, is it wrong? I don't think I can judge. Right.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, we'll be taking questions from the audience, from the people who are watching the live right now. The first question is from Navdha Singh. She asked, "How should we extend a helping hand Like mostly people do not wish to look weak or burdened. So what's the best we can do?
So Navda, I would say that it's very courageous of you and very empathetic of you to offer help to somebody, and you can do that in various ways. I feel that a lot of people want to speak in a very non-judgmental environment, in a safe environment. So if you find somebody who's willing to share their concerns, it's a good idea to provide a safe space, a non-judgmental space for them to speak up, to share their concerns. And at the same time, I would say that try and be watchful of the help that you're providing, because as a helper you may also feel stressed or burdened. So it's very essential to understand how much can you help, and how much you are, like, how well you are feeling about it. So that also is a very important yardstick to keep in mind for your own mental health.
Ma'am, the next question is from Bharti Singh. She asks that most of the times negative emotions bother our brain more than positivity does. I feel being in routine with a positive outlook is being tough nowadays. So how can I really overcome this? It's a connection issue. Uh, we can just wait for 2 3 minutes for ma'am to join us again.
Hey, sorry, I think I got disconnected. Yeah.
Ma'am, it's okay. Can we have that question back, please? Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, the question that we asked is most of the times negative emotions bother our brain more than positivity does. And she feels that being in a routine with a positive outlook is being tough nowadays. So, how can she overcome this?
So very rightly said. I think I resonate with what Bharti said, because I feel that being positive and happy is very difficult, because it's also because we've not been used to feeling positive. So I would just say that some people have a natural disposition, मतलब वो generally positive होते हैं कुछ लोग, and some people have to practice positivity. So if you are somebody who wants to, who feels that okay, you don't have a natural disposition towards positivity, it's a good idea to start practicing in day to day life. And one of the most effective things is gratitude, practicing gratitude. So maybe writing like 3 things you are grateful for every night can be really helpful, because it basically grounds you to the reality that even though there are challenges, even though there are issues in life, but I'm also grateful. So it helps you build a very balanced view of life, not necessarily ignoring your concerns, but it's more like letting you know that you have certain strengths, so don't forget that. And I feel that's a very powerful thing to practice.
We
I
need to
do
have
that.
a positive outlook to our life and the things we do.
Yeah, so like having a gratitude journal can allow you to have that positive outlook if you feel that you are not able to naturally practice positivity. Yeah.
So, ma'am, Akshada Rawat has asked a question. So, she asked that we mentioned our environment is also reasonable for our mental health. What is the best way to get over it or get through it?
So I would say that to each one its own. So if you feel that in your environment there is too much toxicity and it's creating a lot of mental health concerns for you, then it's a good idea to either talk to people who are involved there, and try to change that bit. But if you feel that you cannot do that, then it's a good idea to create certain boundaries. And I am like a big advocate of boundaries, which essentially means having some sort of some sort of an understanding that this is acceptable and this is not acceptable. So something like that. I mean, a lot of times people feel that okay, boundary ka matlab hai that you are putting people at one arm distance, but I don't see it that way. I see that boundary का मतलब है that you are creating space for yourself also. So there could be various boundaries that you can create if you feel that people in your environment are very toxic in terms of uh, you know um, intellectual discussions. So you can have some sort of a boundary that, you know what, I'm not comfortable with this particular discussion and I would not want to engage in this. So I'm just saying that it's very essential part of self-care, but we feel self-care is selfish and hence we are not able to create boundaries. But it's very essential to kind of say what works for you and what doesn't work for you.
Um, Thank you, ma'am. The next question is from Anu Kapoor. She asked that as the normal conception of time seems to be slipping away these days, it's easy to get engrossed in one activity and not give adequate time to other tasks. How do we manage to complete many tasks along with avoiding indulging in overthinking or negativity during this pandemic?
So I'm really happy that Anu has at least acknowledged that there are so many things that are happening. So that's a very good start. So here I would say that very old school, but I believe in making to-do lists. I mean, I may sound extremely old school here, but making a to-do list is really effective. It does not only allow you to remember what are the tasks that you have to do, but it also allows you to kind of honor your struggles through the day. And what you can do is, if you like you said that there are so many tasks and like it's easy to get engaged in one and not focus on the other. So it's a good idea to divide your to-do list basis priority. So once you just in the morning or the night before just write down कितने आपके tasks हैं सारे आप लिख लो, and then you divide them into categories of say high priority, medium priority, and okay, this can wait. That kind of a that kind of a priority listing you can do. So you know that you only have to take care of the things that are superbly important and you can let the other things go. I was just checking out, but I don't have my note list like my notepad here. So I have a notepad which helps me divide tasks into three: pretty important, sorry, super important, pretty important, and chill, this can wait. So I tend to divide them into these three categories. Coming to the overthinking part, I would just suggest that remember that overthinking also is not bad. There are a lot of strengths of overthinking as well. So if you're overthinking, it means that you are prepared for the future. You're prepared as compared to other people. You are able to see a situation through various perspectives. So you're not only being positive, you're also being negative, and you're trying to prepare yourself. And also it shows that you are ignoring your concerns. Like a lot of people just ignore their problems, so you are overthinking, which means that you are actually thinking about it. Now what makes us feel upset is that when we are not able to create a balance, now that is the problem. So what you do is that from today, maybe right now, just try and start being mindful of the activities that you're doing. So imagine early in the morning you're making yourself a cup of tea. Just try and make that cup of tea by focusing on how the vessel looks, how much water you've put in, what is the smell of tea. When you sip that tea, just try to just kind of taste how it feels. So what will happen is slowly, steadily, you will be able to create a balance, because now you will be thinking, but at the same time you will not be overthinking. So you'll be preparing yourself for the future, but you'll also be in the here and now to enjoy it, you see. Do people like can people like kind of write in, if I ask them a question, they can write in like immediately? Is
So,
that a
ma'am,
possibility?
yes, ma'am. The next question
No,
was,
I actually wanted to ask the viewers a question. Okay, is that okay if I like ask them a question?
no, ma'am.
Yeah. So I would want to ask you all, whoever is watching this, can you tell me how does a raisin taste like? किशमिश का क्या टेस्ट होता है?
A little sweet.
Okay. Somebody said sweet. Okay. What else?
but not too sweet.
Okay. What is the taste of a raisin किशमिश? बचपन से खाते आए खीर में डाल डाल के. What does it taste like? Only two people and they have said sweet. What else? Okay, somebody said okay, I don't like raisins. All right. Okay. So I'll tell you why I asked you this question. I asked you this question because very recently I completed one of my trainings, which is mindfulness based training for stress reduction. And I was asked this question by my instructor on the first day. So she told me, "What does a raisin taste like?" And I said, "Sweet." Like that's why it's in sweet dishes, right? That's why we put it there. And last day of my interaction, she asked me again, and I had the raisin, and I realized that it is sweet, it is sour, it's got a different texture. It's not always like, yeah, somebody just said fruity, somebody just said sour. So you see how it is, like how it changes. So I always tell my clients who are way into overthinking and stuff like that, I tell them that the best way to start practicing mindfulness is that you really need to start eating and experiencing every experience mindfully. That is what is essential, and that will allow you to be in the here and now. You will realize that you will never overthink about what is happening right now, but there will be an obsession about the future, or there will be an obsession about the past. So we just need to get our senses to the present, and things will start rolling accordingly.
Ma'am, I think if we appreciate the little things that we are doing, we'll have a more positive outlook for our future that it can happen, that something can happen. I
Yeah,
feel so. When you
yeah. So
mention,
that essentially comes in if like you may have seen like a lot of people keep saying gratitude, one must show gratitude, but then I am an advocate of showing gratitude to yourself. You were
yes,
able to complete those 10 things on the list because you are intelligent, you are disciplined, you are focused, but because you could not do the 11th thing, you judge yourself for the next 24 hours. You see, so I would say that it's important to start showing some gratitude to yourself also in the whole process.
so, ma'am, the next question is by Sukanya. Ma'am, she has asked that she has not been doing anything productive for a while now. And do you think it's okay to have a little break? Because looking at social media, it just makes her stress more. How should she work on this?
Absolutely. I 100% feel that we all need to create our own pause rituals. So, you know how the modern world is like, how the corporate culture is that you work for 5 days a week and then you chill over the weekend. That is the thought process. So, that's why Mondays suck now, because we need Monday motivation, right? Because we are like, okay, we are back into the grind. So, what usually happens is that we have this thought process कि अभी हमें 5 दिन हासिल करना है और 2 दिन रेस्ट करना है, फिर मंडे को सैड होना है कि अब हमें और 4 दिन हासिल करना है. So the whole idea needs to be broken into smaller parts. It's very essential to start practicing pause rituals. So pause rituals essentially mean certain breaks that you can have through the day that constitute of self care. Say for example, you could take a break after every 40 minutes for those 10 minutes where you just relax. Or if, say for example, watching TV helps you, so you're just watching TV in your pause ritual, you're not doing anything else. So I would just say that I would just not want to put in pressure and say that pause ritual में सिर्फ mindful रहना है या सिर्फ meditation करना है. You can do whatever you want to do that defines your pause, and try and do that, and definitely take breaks. Please take breaks.
So, ma'am, the next question is from Upasna. She has asked that our plans for her career have come to an unexpected halt. How do we cope with the anxiety that this fact brings, and how to plan out the new approach?
Okay, so Vasna, I think you made a very valid point that right now things are very, very I mean, it's just a big, huge question mark, okay? But the problem is that, the problem is not that you're feeling anxious about how will my career be, but maybe if you like if you like look in deeper, you may recognize that your anxious thoughts are very deterministic. So maybe you are having this, आपको शायद ये थॉट नहीं आ रहा कि मेरा करियर अच्छा होगा या बुरा होगा, मे बी आपको ये थॉट आ रहा है मेरा करियर बुरा ही होगा, so you will realize that the problem is not feeling anxious. The problem is that you want to control your future, you see, and you will recognize that you are mostly negative about your future. So I would just say that it's very important for you to ground yourself to the reality that right now things are uncertain, things are not bad, and that can really allow you to start focusing on your strengths and start working on your personal development. Because what happens is, as I said some time back, that you start struggling with this emotion. So there's a lot of emotional charge, very high emotional charge and very low rational charge. Now we want to make it equal, and once our rational charge goes up, then is when we want to make a call of how can I develop or how can I fruitfully utilize this time. So I would just say that next time you have this thought, think कि मुझे क्या ये थॉट आ रहा है कि मेरा करियर शायद खराब हो जाएगा या शायद अच्छा रहेगा, या आपको ये थॉट आ रहा है कि 100% I am doomed, and you will realize that the you are probably feeling the latter part of what I just said.
Thank you, ma'am. That was really beneficial. Like it helped me personally as well. So the next question is from Bharti Singh. She asked that, do you think mindfulness too is a practice, because often whenever sadness strikes, we tend to easily give up the process of mindfulness. Why is that?
I'm not sure if I understood this correctly. Can you help me here, Sanjita? I didn't understand the question.
Ma'am, what she meant to ask maybe is that mindfulness too is a practice, and we need to practice it time by time to get a hold of it. Whenever sadness strikes, or in general as well. So we tend to give up that practice, the process of mindfulness. Why is that? Why cannot we go through with it for a long time?
Because it's difficult. It is very difficult to be in the present, it's so difficult. So what I'm trying to say is that mindfulness is not really a practice. I feel it's a way of life. And the good part about it, so the bad part is of course it's difficult, but the good part is that you don't have to be a Yoda to practice this. You can just be a very normal person who can practice this. And how do you do that? By making your brain used to a particular way of thinking. See, we have been a certain way for so many years, right? So if you are trying to reverse this, at least allow yourself some time, allow yourself some at least a few weeks, if not years. So I would just say that yes, it is very difficult, and the mere acknowledgement of the fact that it is difficult can help you practice more. uh, I saw a video sometime back, and that person said that if you take a jar full of dirt and you keep putting water in it, clean water in it, you will require gallons of water before you'll actually find clean water in this jar. And what happens is that clean water is positivity, and the dirt and all of that is a negativity. So in order to let go of it, you'll have to like really put in consistent efforts for a really really long time and reverse the whole way of functioning. So it takes time. It's difficult to stay positive.
Mom, because we have always, like, we have worked throughout our school life and college life to have a stable career. Like, we always think about we should have a stable future. So it will be difficult for us to actually appreciate the things we are doing in present.
Yeah, absolutely. So like if you like really, I mean, if I share a case with you without breaking confidentiality, I had a client, and she's a student, and she said that what, I really need to prepare a schedule for myself because I'm not doing anything. And I was kind of sure that she's doing something, just probably not recognizing it. And when I actually drew her her schedule, and we totaled up the time, she was actually spending 2.5 hours in household activities, which she was not noticing because it had become so natural after 4 months of lockdown that it was like, okay, इसमें क्या बड़ी बात है, ये तो करना ही होता है. But those 2.5 hours was never done before the lockdown, you see. So that is why it also becomes extremely difficult for us to notice, because certain things just become normal. Like मम्मी तो अच्छा खाना बनाती ही है, पापा तो ऑफिस जाते ही हैं, there are certain thought processes that have always been there with us, right?
So, ma'am, the next question is from Akshaya. Ma'am, she asked that how does the severity of problems increase in this pandemic for the patients who suffer from OCD, somatoform, and panic disorder? How to modify the treatment process online?
Okay, so here I would like to mention that I'm not a clinical psychologist. I'm a counseling psychologist, which essentially means that have a, I do not have a very assessment or diagnostic point of view, and I also do not take cases who have certain disorders. However, as per my experience, I have noticed that yes, as it is difficult for everybody, it becomes doubly difficult for people who are already facing mental health concerns. And like for me also, now I started taking all my clients online, and I had seen that there was an initial a doubt from my clients and also from me, because I was like, this is like not even it's not very personalized, right? But I feel that it's more about the connect that you have. And if I see the positive side of it, is that I feel that this pandemic has taught us how we can stay connected, yet separated, but how can we stay connected, right? So I just feel that it's uh, I mean, if you feel that you would want to if you would want to try the process online, just don't look at the mediation, just don't look at the communication style, but try and just whenever you're selecting a therapist for yourself, just try and see if you can connect with that person. Does that person provide that safe space that you need? Does that person provide that comfort that you need? So the communication mode can be anything, but then you need to feel safe. So the question is, are you feeling safe? And I would say that's the only way to figure out whether this online process is working out for you or not.
Do we have any more questions?
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
I think, yeah.
So Kanya has asked one more question, and she asked that as you said we need a break, do you think the concept of taking a 2 day off is better than what we follow in India? We are even given tasks for Sunday by our workspace. Don't you think this issue should be taken seriously and that people need to understand its importance?
Yeah, so Kanya, you're absolutely right. There are, like I was talking about boundaries. So the work boundaries are also so blurred for us that emails are pouring in at 3 o'clock in the morning and at 5 o'clock and all of that. And you are also asked to work beyond work timings, and especially now because up to मतलब people are like कि तुम्हारे क्या plans होंगे, तुम तो घर पे ही हो, तो मेल ही देख लो, रिप्लाई कर दो, तुम कहाँ बाहर जा रहे हो, so you don't have a life. So I do understand what you're saying, and I feel that it's very important for you to convey it to your employer. I just hope Sukanya does not work with you guys. Then I may be creating a controversy here. So I would just say that it's very essential for you to convey this to your employer, that there are certain personal boundaries that you would want to create. And I would say that there are only certain things that are in your control and certain things that are not. So I feel that you can practice pause rituals whenever you feel you need to, by not being dependent on other people. And if you feel that you feel comfortable with the 5 day hustle and 2 day work, 2 day rest, go for it. It personally does not really work for me, because I feel that during those 5 days I feel very exhausted. So I really need to take some breaks, small breaks through the day. And you can practice it anyway, like I mean, just like eating food mindfully, watching TV. Like a lot of times clients complain that I'm watching Netflix, but I'm not really watching it, I'm just thinking about a lot of other things. So a pause ritual could be practiced on a daily basis also. I think I would go with practicing it daily rather than just being like totally fed up for 5 days. Yeah.
Yes. Ma'am, do we have any more questions? All right. So, ma'am, we'll be coming to an end of the first day of our webinar week series, Let's Think Green. This series will be continued by WMARS Youth Club members from tomorrow, Saturday. The schedule is as follows. We have Soumya, who is a WMARS Youth Club member, interacting with Gopal Nandaji on sustainable gardening tomorrow. Then on Thursday, our youth member Anjali will be interacting with Pooja Damadia ji on waste segregation and composting. On Friday, that is 31st of July, Navdha, who is also a WMARS Youth Club member, will have a discussion with Snigdha Anand ji on zero waste periods. And on the last day, that is 1st August, we'll have WMARS Youth member Shubhi Sinha conversing with Khushi Pathak ji on low waste lifestyle. Ma'am, I'd like to say that we all thank you for gracing this webinar with your presence and giving us ample amount of information as well as hope during this pandemic. We hope
Thank
to
you.
leverage the tips provided by you in years to come. And we all know that we are free to always contact you through your Instagram handle, that is Therapy by Sanya, in case of any assistance or advice on dealing with emotions, coping strategies, etc. And if and ma'am, do you want to add something else to it?
I would just want to say that I'm sure that a lot of people may have questions which you could not answer, you could not ask, or even if you just want to share a comment or anything, then maybe I can share my email ID and also my Instagram account handle. So I would just want to bring in here that Instagram or whatever content that I create on social media handles is not therapy. Therapy is a very different space altogether, and one cannot encapsulate the awesomeness and the safe space that you get from therapy in a space like an Instagram post or something. But yeah, I basically, in order to give back to the society and for awareness purposes, I created this page wherein we hold a lot of discussions. We do a lot of lives, webinars, and also there is something called as Therapy Thursdays, wherein every Thursday I answer questions that people have from the community. We have a community of over 5,000 people now, and it'll be nice if you guys can join me there. If you are not on Instagram, then you can join me on Facebook. There's a page again by the name Therapy by Sanya. And as I said, you can reach out to me, you can DM me, you can email me. Maybe I'll just request Sanchita if you could just write in my email ID to the people so that they can get in touch in case there's an issue. Thank you for
Sure.
having me today.
Thank you, ma'am. And to the live audience, if you want to connect yourself with our cause and be a member of the team, you can always contact us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or even our website, that is www.wmarsindia.com. Ma'am, it was great to have you here, ma'am. It was an amazing
Same here.
experience.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. We hope to meet you sometime soon as well.
Absolutely. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.